Linebackers in. No, not you, Seamus.
What a semester it has been for us as we welcome you to the Season 7 finale of the Bison Overtime Show. I'm Grant Hubbard, Peder, Ethan Eibach alongside. Tonight, fellas, deep dive into the 2026 NDSU football team, previewing their first season in FBS.
Yeah, I've been dying to do this episode now, but it's sad that it's the last
That's
one.
become a
of the
common
semester.
theme at this point. We always want to do this episode. I'd cut you off, Peder.
No, I'm grateful for being part of this program for the semester.
All right, so a couple notes before we get into the meat of the episode. March Madness, it's officially going to 76 teams. We have a couple opinions, so like it, love it. What do you think? Hate it even? Who knows?
I don't like it because the mid-majors are going to get screwed in this because I think if you're a 16, no matter what now, you have to play in to get in. And I think SDSU's athletic director made a good point today. He said their goal is not to win a March Madness game. It's to get in the March Madness tournament and get deep. Like winning a not meaningless, but playing game. That's not your goal. Your goal is to get to like the Sweet 16. Yeah, and
with the field expanding, it just kind of eliminates that. The 16, the 15, and Grant, as you noted, the Summit League, it's full of 15 seats, and so these Summit League teams are gonna have to fight to get into the actual bracket.
Yep.
And it's annoying, it's disrespectful to the mid-majors, and it's just money hungry.
Yeah, 6 of the last 8 tournaments have been a 15 or lower, I want to say, in the Summit League. So if you're a Summit League team, you basically have to be what NDSU was this year. You got to win 27 games. You got to have a couple decent mid-major wins just to even have a shot at the 14, but we'll see. I'm not going to try to explain the format to you because I struggled explaining it to myself in the back, so we're not even going to worry about that. Hats off, Dr. Ekron Miller, men's golf, Summit League champs. I think they finished, the only team that was under par in the tournament, so congrats to them. So Brett McMurphy on 3 Sports. Don's been on he's had Dom on the show a couple of times, or vice versa, whatever. He says, year 1, the Bison are going to be in the playoff. Now, they still hasn't been confirmed if NDSU is even eligible or not this year, but McMurphy, that's a high source saying the Bison could be a playoff team this year. That's high praise from a guy from a national media outlet source.
And the interesting part about Brett McMurphy is, he's a senior writer for On3. He knows pretty much everything on the
Worked at
NCAA
ESPN
committee.
for a little bit?
Yes. And with that committee voting on it, I'm guessing he is 90% sure that the NDSU will gain eligibility in that first year. And hats off, I believe the men's NDSU golf team, I think they beat him by 6 strokes.
Yeah, they dominated Denver, yep.
Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah,
He's all hyped up on golf. We got to do something else.
No, I think Bison fans, I hope they don't read too much into what McMurphy says because I don't think he's deep dived the team a whole lot like we have, and we think the Bison are going to be good. I don't know if we think they're going to go 12-0.
Probably not that good, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think more realistic is a prediction I saw that they'd be playing James Madison in a bowl game.
Love
that would be
that.
awesome, but yeah.
Yeah, a couple other going to some football notes. NDSU, we saw the Inform had an article, and the image was the Mountain West logo on the jersey. Now you have a sweatshirt with the Mountain West logo on it, but they're looking for a jersey patch. We are available to be consulted. Bison Overtime right on there. We're good on the chest if you want us there. But so I don't know if we want to spend any ideas who the jersey patch might be. I guess it's going to be an interesting world this year. Like we were talking before the show, is that first game we walk on the field, is there going to be a big Mountain West green and gold logo on the field? That'd be cool. But any patch ideas, I guess?
I don't really know what businesses are
it's
in
a tough
this.
one.
I don't know, is it like banks? Is it like big firms?
Gate City Bank
Gate
City Bank's probably in line to do that possibly.
Yeah, if it's that, I could easily see that happening, but there's too much advertising today. We saw it with Major League Baseball. They're doing it now. I don't like it on the uniforms. I especially don't like it when it's on like helmets. But it is what it is.
So for comparison on these on the jersey patch sponsors, Wyoming, they've got paid $4.5 million by I believe it was a oil technology drilling kind of
North
company.
Dakota's got oil money. They make that happen maybe.
I could definitely see a Gate City. I could definitely see Gate City Bank.
Definitely.
Maybe Stanford, but Stanford originates in South Dakota.
Yep.
But who knows? I'm just kind of intrigued who's going to pony up the money to put that sponsor on their jersey.
I mean, the Jacks just got new uniforms, and they don't look great. So that's neither here nor there, different topic. For the first time in I don't know how many years, the Fargo tailgate spots sold out. Yeah. Now that is a good sign right there, boys.
Yeah, it's something that we've been waiting for a few years here because, I mean, tailgating is always pretty, the energy's high in September, it dips down a bit in October, and by the time the playoffs come around, there's no one there anymore.
Like that Bison Illustrated image where it's packed. You couldn't buy a spot. Now people have been just giving away for free. It seems like, well, that's a big deal.
Yeah, and not only that, it's like the spots that were bought, some people weren't going anymore. Yeah. And now I think that's going to stop. I think people are more energized now just overall, and I'm excited to see the season ticket sales.
The only thing I'm going to touch on with this topic, Ibach, I would book that your prediction's going to happen. Yeah. The 18,000 fans that first game. We could honestly see. I know the capacity is like 18,000. We could totally see just some people just sneaking in, trying to get a peek of it.
Just give away the whole show while you're at it, Peter. That's one of his hot takes, but that's all right. Last thing, the AFCA, run by our good buddy Craig Bull, they've officially suggested, that's tough to say, a 24-team playoff and no conference championship games. Sounds familiar, fellas. This format seems very, very familiar. The problem is, I don't think they're saving spots for the group of 6 teams, which is the mistake right now. But they're going in the right direction of going where this should go, which is the 24-team field we've talked about ad nauseum at this point, and the no conference title games. So it gives the Bison, it would give the MAC champion a shot, it would give all these other teams a chance to get into the dance. But we'll see. Just a suggestion right now. It hasn't gone through a committee or anything yet.
Yeah, I think if you're going to get rid of conference championship games, it's got to be you have to have the bigger playoff because otherwise the G6 has not a whole lot to play for. But like conference championships make sense when there's 10 teams in there because you play everybody. You can't determine a conference champion when there's 18 teams and everybody is 7-1. But that's we've hammered on this.
Another thing I like that they touched on is they were going to have the national championship game in the second week of January.
Perfect.
Yeah. So it's not late January and all of that. I love that this idea is getting pushed by Bull because he's lived in this and he's like, yeah, this is not working. My only flaw in this is I hope it's not take one step forward and move two steps back.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of that realm because that's what we kind of saw with like the 12-team playoff this year. It's like, okay, we're getting more teams in the field, but then it's like the waiting and everything, and the transfer portal just erupted. So that's all I'm going to say.
All right, let's get into the roster a little bit. We'll have some special guests joining us throughout the show, so stay tuned for that. But let's dive first into the quarterbacks. So your 4 quarterbacks going into the season. Nathan Hayes, your clear-cut starter, the senior. You got Trey Drake, who's a junior. He'll be there from Jamestown, New York. Preston Brown, he could redshirt again. We'll see. Did he redshirt last year?
No, he did.
He played more than 4 games because he played on special teams, so we'll see more of him. We're number 0 this year. Then Xander Smith, they are really high on as a redshirt freshman from Lakeland, Florida. What do we think of the quarterbacks?
Yeah, I think the depth isn't quite what it was the last 3 years. I mean, you're not going to have Cole Payton, and Cam Miller, and Nathan Hayes in the same room too often. But I think if you keep Nathan Hayes healthy, I think things are going to go well. It's just the future is uncertain, but I have a lot of trust in the Bison in developing quarterbacks.
Nathan Hayes, he's going to be he's going to be the quarterback. But my question is, who's going to be the backup? Is it Trey Drake? Is it Preston Brown? I personally believe that Preston Brown kind of has the upper hand on Trey Drake, even though Trey Drake's been here for the last 3 years. But no, that's one of the interesting fall camp battles.
I mean, there's typically what's the old question we'd ask in blowouts? Is it Cole Davis time, right, Ethan? That's what we would ask. If it's Trey Drake, is it Trey Drake time to be the backup, or is it one of these young guys? So, doomsday scenario, who's the quarterback? Is it Preston Brown? Is it Xander Smith? I think it might be Xander Smith because we hear really good things about both quarterbacks. They like them both. So. It flip a coin. I think some may lean Brown, some may lean Smith. We haven't heard exactly in the coaching staff who they like more. I think it'd really be an open battle if it was between those 2 quarterbacks. But if you guess you had to pick one, would it be Brown or Smith? I would lean more Smith, but you guys have a different opinion of that.
I think Smith is more of a quarterback, like an actual quarterback. Right. I think Brown is more of the athlete, which is why I think Brown would have a better shot at playing better right away. I think down the road, Xander Smith is definitely going to be the starter, but I just think, you look at what happened to SDSU. Their starter gets hurt and they put the more veteran quarterback in. And, if the Bison did that with Trey Drake, probably wouldn't go great because we haven't seen a whole lot from them. But, yeah, let's just keep Nathan Hayes healthy.
I personally believe that Preston Brown would be, the next man. But I really, really like Xander Smith as a passer. He can use his legs a little bit. I view him as the future of NDSU, being the future quarterback of NDSU, Xander Smith. But for right now, Preston Brown is going to fill that void.
All right, let's move on to the running backs while we're on the subject. Tim Polzak's borderline probably his favorite position other than the offensive line. So the incumbent starter going into the season would be DJ Scott. He was kind of that secondary running back with Barika Penu. So Scott will be your starter. Miles Mitchell had some moments, looked really good, had a touchdown against Tennessee State. He'll be the backup for now. Then Cortez LeGrand Jr., the transfer running back from Minnesota, is in there. So those are your three guys. Kind of an earth, wind, and fire kind of trio here. You got DJ Scott, popping helmets off like he did against South Dakota. Miles Mitchell, kind of your all-around back. And then you got Cortez, pure speed. You get that kid a hole, he's going to run for days. So unique room here we got here.
Yeah, it's a lot of young guys, and DJ Scott's going to have to be the guy, and I think he's going to be. I think he's going to be a lot like, Bruce Anderson, that kind of guy, physical, and I think he's faster than people think. And if Bison play the way we think they will and run the ball a ton, he's going to have a big year.
I'm excited to see the workload between Scott and Mitchell, because I think Mitchell can be that all-around, catch the ball, everything of that nature. But DJ Scott, he is clear-cut number one, and I would love to see him, 125 carries for a season. I could see him in that Barika Penu.
Yeah, Braden Tolliver is a guy that's really high on a young freshman. He got hurt in the spring game. We don't know the severity of it, but he's going to miss some time. So those are your three guys. Is anybody else going to emerge? You see Barry Penu's on our screen. I don't know how much he's going to play, but he'll be there. But it's a more well-rounded room. There's more than one guy. Like DJ Scott's not going to, we have a question, is he a monopoly or is he going to split carries? They're going to split carries. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think the offensive line is just so much better than it was last season.
Yeah, and I think something big here is that when Polisek came here, I think the first position group he saw and didn't like the most was running backs. Other than Marty Brown, who's obviously gone now.
Peder Haugo, who was in studio later, he was in the running back room for a while.
Yeah, and he had to, and they had to because they didn't have any depth there. And then Penu got hurt, obviously. But anyway, I think there's so many depth pieces here now, and then mixed with the young guys, I think it's just a perfect mix.
Maybe in blowouts we'll see a bunch of those true freshmen get.
We'll see.
And the redshirts get into the mix. But no, I think this running backs room, I think from spring we could just tell who's going to be the guy.
Yeah. Moving on to the wide receivers, this position group has to step up in a really athletic conference as in the Mountain West. As of right now, this will likely shape up. Your X receiver being Mekhi Collins, the senior. That the Z, Jeremiah Patterson, the Arizona transfer, will step in and be that second receiver. Jackson Williams, obviously, as that F position, that go-get-it, big play guy. Then behind them, Logan Conklin, Isaiah St. Romain, then Jordan McCants, the West Virginia transfer in there. There are guys behind them like Kate Osterman who could step up and make some plays. This is a position that's got to make it or break it. If the Bison are going to be good this year in the Mountain West, these guys have to step up.
Yeah, and we've talked about how we think they're going to run the ball more, but you still got to pass it on third. If it's 3rd and 8, you got to throw the ball. Got to throw it to somebody, and I think Mekhi Collins, he's set up perfectly to have a huge year because he hasn't really been that starter for his whole career. Now he is. Jackson Williams, I think, is the next Darius Shepard with better speed, and the guys behind him, there's a lot of competition to be had in the fall camp.
This position room, I have the most questions for. It depends on who's going to step up, who's playing what positions. We all are in a unanimous decision that Jackson Williams, he's going to be a star this year.
Oh yeah.
It's 800 plus yards with maybe 8 touchdowns. He's just going to be that guy. But yeah, like we said, what's Jeremiah Patterson going to do? What's Jordan McCants? They're obviously brought in for a reason. It just depends on what that reason is going to be. And then with North Dakota receivers like Logan Conklin and Isaiah St. Romain.
Drake Schlosser maybe, who knows?
It's okay, who's going to
John Gores? Can't forget about Johnny Gores.
Yeah, is it Austin?
Kate Osterman.
Yeah, Osterman. It just depends on who's going to step up, and because I could definitely see Cade getting some more reps on 3rd and down in those if they go for split.
Keep an eye on S.J. Green as well, redshirt freshman out of Tampa. That guy can flat fly. So that's Tampa receivers worked out pretty well for NDSU over the years. So who are we going to see him emerge? And again, how good is Jackson Williams going to be? That's the question, because if he has a 900-yard season and 6 touchdowns, there's a pretty good shot the Bison will have over 8 wins if he's stepping up into the offense and being good. So let's step into the tight ends a little bit. We'll talk about it quick, then we'll go into one of our interviews. Reese Kessel, leader in the clubhouse, will be your starting tight end. There's some talent behind. Caden Zenzen, Gabe Cunningham is the guy to look at. Is that third? He may be listed as a 3rd tight end as a redshirt freshman. The guy looks like, I want to say he looks like Kyle Pitts, but he's tall, he's athletic, he's made a lot of really good plays in practice. So this is a guy to look out for in 2026.
Yeah, I think Luke Kocat and Zenzen are going to be more of those like Finn Diggins and Carson Williams blocking tight ends, and then Zabel and Cunningham are going to have their opportunities to catch the ball a lot more. And Kessel goes without saying. I mean, I think he's going to be one of the best tight ends in the Mountain West right off the bat. Should have been all Valley, but you know, we know how that goes with the voting. But yeah, I think it's a good group overall.
Yeah, in my interview, we kind of touched on, hey, what does the tight end room need to do better and everything? And Reis mainly said, you know, they know me as being a receiving tight end, but I need to focus on that blocking aspect of my game. That's what he kind of touched on during spring ball and all of that nature. But yeah, it's clear cut. It's going to be Reis and then, you know, Caden Zenzen. But yeah, like you said, Gabe Cunningham is amazing. And then he also, hey, what about Gray Zabel's little brother, Jet?
Yeah.
What if maybe Jet will step up this year and kind of in those two sets with tight ends. So we could definitely see a lot of things this year. But there's the got it guys, and then there's the gotta prove it guys in this room.
Yeah, quoting him is one thing, but hearing from him is another thing. So Peder had a chance to talk with him yesterday. So here is Peder's interview with Reis Kessel.
Welcome to Bison Overtime. This is Peder Avelka, and Reis Kessel has joined us at the table in the studio. Now, going into your junior year, is there any like particular skill that you're working on, and through like through summer camp, are you doing any kind of drills of that nature? You getting ready for any skills?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing in my game that I'm working on is just the blocking part of being a tight end. Obviously, last year I was in mainly just third down on the passing downs. I mean, everyone knows I can go out there and run and catch the ball, but the thing I've really been working on the most and what I want to perfect is just the blocking part of it.
Yeah,
to be just a 4-down tight end.
Yeah, because we kind of highlighted on the show that's like you're more of a receiving, than a blocking type of guy. But kind of again, you started as a Bison tight end. You were recruited as like a PWO, so a preferred walk-on. But now you're put on scholarship and starting. What was your mentality going into your first year of collegiate football?
Yeah, my mentality going into my first year was just, I mean, I'm not on scholarship, and I'm just going to work the hardest I can every single day to go out here and show that I can play with these guys. I mean, just because I'm a preferred walk-on doesn't mean that I'm not going to get the same opportunities, because at NDSU, no matter what you are, you're going to get the same opportunities. We do double rep during practice. Everyone gets the same amount of reps, which is a pretty beautiful thing about this place. So yeah, every day in the weight room, every day on the field, I just try to maximize and take advantage of every opportunity I got. And yeah, that was just my mindset, is that I'm going to do the best at everything I can do.
Was there any like welcome to college football moments like your first year?
Oh, for sure, yeah. My first year my first year coming in, I played scout team. So I was going up against like Dylan Hendricks, Toby and Nene. I mean, I was 220 pounds, 225 pounds maybe. And these guys are 250, 260, and I'm blocking them. I mean, I don't know if I won 10 reps the whole year on scout team against those DNs. Like it was, I say that was my welcome to college football moment for sure, going against those guys my first year.
So as we mentioned, you redshirted your first year. What did the upperclassmen in the tight end room kind of like teach you or give you any words of advice in that moment?
Yeah, those guys like Truman Wermeyer, Carson Williams, Finn Diggins, Joe Stoffel. I say they just taught me how to be a Bison, just overall. Like what they tell you before you even get to NDSU is that being a Bison's hard. I mean, the workouts we do, the practices we do, nothing about it is easy. And I say those guys just mentored me and helped me throughout the whole process, and helped me and show me the ropes of how to be a player here. So
we kind of touched on like the spring practice aspect in your first year, but you come from an athletic family. Your older brother played at Concordia, and your little brother is getting ready to select a home for the next 4 years. Does it just run in the Kessel family to be this athletic, or is there like any rivalry at like Thanksgiving playing football? Like, is it just you guys just make each other better?
Yeah, I mean, my dad, I don't know if I got my athletic ability from him. I mean, he played 1 year of college football at Concordia, and then he went on to go to medical school at UND. But
oh wow,
yeah, I'd say there is a lot of rivalry. I mean, my uncle, he played in college, so we always get together, like you said, at Thanksgiving. We'll do a little backyard football or something. But yeah, me and my brothers are always competing and arguing about who's more athletic. and just stuff like that. So it's a good time.
Yeah, because I was just looking into it. I'm like, holy cow, like, it's just college athletics everywhere in the family.
Yeah.
Now so going into the football side of things now, you run a lot of medium to big routes. What's your favorite route and why? Because there's a lot of spotlight plays of you catching on the sideline or, a touchdown against USD or your first ever career touchdown. Is there any route that like stands out to you?
Yeah, for sure. So we run this route concept we call it Sooners. It's just basically just 4 verticals.
Yeah.
But when it's a 3x1, like 3 receivers on one side, I'm the inside receiver, 1 receiver on the other side. I run this route in that concept called the special seam. And if you watch my highlights, this is what I caught probably 70% of my balls on. Yeah. So basically, I'm the 3rd receiver, and I dive to the middle, and I read if the middle of the field is open, which means there's 2 safeties, or if it's closed, which means there's 1 safety over the top. And if it's closed, I snap it off. And if it's open, I just pipe it up the middle. And all I have to do is basically a 1-on-1 between me and the Mike linebacker. So I like me in that matchup for sure.
Yeah, no, because I remember watching a bunch of the highlights. It's just like there's nothing like short about that or anything. But along with that question, will we see a lot of RPO action this year? Going to the Mountain West and everything. I expect like the concept of the offense not to change, but will we see any like run pass option things in the offense this year?
Yeah, we definitely have a lot of like RPO stuff like that in the offense, but I think something we're definitely gonna focus more on this year is just pounding the rock and showing these Mountain West teams what Bison football really is and how we got started and what we're made on. So I think we're gonna see a lot of RPO passing obviously, but maybe emphasizing more just running the ball up the middle down their throats. So
yeah, because as we talked about on the show, we realized that a bunch of these running backs is going to be a monopoly of carries. We're expecting 50 and then 100 for like DJ Scott and all that nature. Your position coach is offensive coordinator Dan Larson. What's something you've learned from him or advice from like a different technique that you've kind of learned from him in the last few years being advised in tight end?
Yeah, Dan Larson. Coach Larson, he's the guy that everyone, when they leave, they say he's the kind of coach you don't want to let down. Yeah. He's a great coach, very knowledgeable on the game. That's something about him. Most knowledgeable coach I think I've ever been coached by. But yeah, like for me specifically, he's taught me like a ton. And I'd say mainly it's in the blocking game. He was obviously the O-line coach here. He sent a lot of guys to the NFL. I mean, if you look at his track record, it's pretty crazy. And so, he's working with me every day during practice and off the field to work on that aspect of the game as well. So,
yeah, because I just bring up Coach Larson because he's came from so many different backgrounds of working on the defensive side to the offensive side. That's kind of a best of both worlds situation. And now going to kind of scheduling aspect of it. What are some of the best environments you've ever played in, and are there some new venues marked on your schedule because you guys will be playing in Vegas? But then you'll also be going to the West Coast, and you're going to go to the Rainbow State in Hawaii. So is there any venues? And I understand, all those trips are business trips and all that nature. But you guys are also playing in Allegiant Stadium back-to-back, I think, this year. Isn't it the 27?
Yeah, 27 playing the Montana State.
Yeah, so are there any new venues that you're marking on your schedule for this upcoming year?
Ooh, I'd say definitely Hawaii, getting out there. It's going to be a business trip, though. I don't want Coach P to see this and think we're going out there for a vacation. But it's going to be all business. But, playing out there is going to be cool. The weather, just the environment. And then Air Force, I think, is going to be pretty cool. Fits a lot of people. I think they get pretty rowdy up down there. And then, I think, like you said, UNLV will be a pretty amazing environment to play in. The Raider Stadium, obviously. So.
Yeah, because we kind of view that as that's going to be a marquee matchup this year. And, you have to treat every game as business, but just something about UNLV on the schedule is something new. Sort of an NFL question. Is there a particular tight end that you model your game based off of?
Yeah, I'd say just being a Vikings fan, I'm going to go with TJ Hawkinson.
Yeah.
Obviously a great tight end in the league, but something he does great, which gets really overlooked, is his blocking ability. So, I mean, obviously he goes up there and catches all those passes and is flashy when he gets the ball in his hand after the catch. But he also is a big part of the Vikings blocking scheme and blocking part of the offense as well. So I think he's somebody that every Sunday when I'm watching the games, I look for. So
Sweet. My last question is, so Reese and I, we kind of grew up facing each other back from the travel ball days in third grade and all of that nature.
Sir.
What advice would you give to your younger self, and what are you looking to build for this upcoming year when you take the field against Jacksonville State on August 29th?
Yeah. Some advice I give to my younger self would be just every opportunity you get, take advantage of it. You never know who's watching. You never know what can come out of that, and just to never take a play off. That can go into real life too. Never take a play off, whether it's school, whether you're helping someone out, because someone's always watching, and you want to look out for that. And then what was the last part? Yeah.
And what are you looking to take? The first game you guys open at the Fargo Dome. What are you looking to build for this upcoming season? You kind of talked about your blocking in that realm, but just besides being a team aspect, are you looking for focusing on your blocking and are you kind of just focusing on that mid-range or that large game in the passing game, or are you looking to just be a contributor in all sorts of the fields?
Yeah. I'll just say that I just want to affect the game in any way the coaches want to put me in at.
Yeah.
So whatever the coaches ask me to do, I want to go in there and do it to the best of my ability, and ultimately just help the team win. Whatever way the coaches want to use me, I want to go out there and I want to see a W on that scoreboard when the clock hits 0. So
I think all of us want to do. Thank you, Reis. Thank you for the time coming in the studio, and I look forward to watching you dominate this year on the field.
Yes, sir.
Boom.
Thanks for having me on.
Sweet.
Thanks again to Reis Kessel for that interview. We really appreciate it. On to the offensive line. As of right now, the projected starting 5. We got Ryan Babbitt's playing left tackle. We got the whole depth chart for you. Griffin Empey's playing left guard. Gage Schmidt has wowed in spring ball, so he's moving into the center spot, the sophomore. Josh Magan, that offseason surgery, they're going to kick him inside to right guard and make room for Kene and Nene to play right tackle. That's a mountain of a man they're playing right tackle. Then you got your depth guys. So Tucker Tiedemann comes in. The guy with the SEC offers, he comes in. Jack Lewinsky, James Nellis, Nate Tosted could possibly be that 6th offensive lineman if they use some of the 6 O-line sets. Noah Stummis in there, right backup, right tackle. Then you got a lot of young guys on the back end: Alex Warden, Brett Tosted, Coy Okeson, Gavin Wang. So what do we make of the offensive line to start FBS?
I see one senior, and that's all I see.
Yeah, that's scary.
If you're talking, I know we said this last year where this whole offensive line would be together, and then they lost a couple in the portal. But Mountain West, and if you're talking about you want to build somewhere, it's right here in the trenches, because some of these teams are such spread offenses, and then defensively they're not prepared to face the run like the Bison are. I think this is where they're going to build, and Coach Polisic has shown it. And then the one thing I want to note, I think Griffin Empey is the backup center technically, because if things go wrong, he probably slides into center.
Put him in the center, yeah.
I think that's his best shot at the NFL, and that's clearly what he wants to do.
My whole takeaway, they are deep. And yes, they have, the freshmen at like the 2 deep, but those guys, they're killers, and they have the size to play offensive line in the Mountain West. And it's just shocking to me that, there's a 13-game starter in Nate Tosted being on the bench and just being that plug-in 6 offensive lineman, But like I said, this group doesn't have that much questions. The questions that are going to be surrounding is how do they adapt to the Mountain West in that nature? But I love this group.
The questions with Magan coming off an off-season surgery. He was underwhelming last year. Can he step up and be very, very good at guard? Again, we would love it if it's. We were talking about this in the break. If go to Honolulu, first play, Maryland 6 offensive linemen.
Yeah.
What's up? Let's do this, right? Let's go defensive line now. Talk about deep and especially the edge rushers, especially. Let's start with the edge. This is one heck of a room we got. We got Keenan Wilson, Zach Vanderpool, Sten Broughton, and Kelton McCaslin are in there on the edge. That's pretty good stuff. And then of course you got Logan Larson, Elijah Wayne, Anthony Oakes, and Victor Isley. I think defensive line could be the strength of this team, guys. I really do. Yeah,
and another thing that we talked about while that interview was playing is that some of these teams, other than like the New Mexicos, the UNLVs, they're not built in the trenches. They're built to spread it out and air raid. Well, it doesn't matter how bad your defensive backs are if you get after the quarterback, and I think that's what they're going to do. I think Keenan Wilson is going to have the time of his life rushing the QB in this. The edge rushers is very interesting because obviously Toby and Nene's gone. Who's going to step into that role? We think it's Stenbrotten, but it's going to be very interesting to see how that works out.
Stenbrotten is on the case for being a breakout star this year. It's not make or break it for him, but it's just there's a lot of hype and potential going into him. And only being a sophomore, he's going to have room to grow and room to be like, okay, this tackle used this move on me. I know how I'm going to do it next time. Keenan Wilson, that could be a defensive tackle that has 14 tackles for losses and 6 sacks this year. And then in my hot take, I said Victor Ezeli. I think he's going to be a star. He's put on the weight, he's put on the body. I'm very excited for him for this upcoming year.
Yeah, the only things that we want to talk about is there that unstoppable force? You said maybe Ezeli in there. That could be one. Can they attack the quarterback with just 4? I think they can. If they're playing a team like Hawaii, who just wants to throw the ball all over the place, they don't put as much stock into the offensive line the way NDSU does. Can we see a day where Victor Ezeli or Stenbrotten goes for 2-3 sacks?
Yeah,
we'll see. I don't know.
I think it's a legit possibility. I mean, these teams, it's going to be like some of these teams. It's going to be like facing Sam Houston all over again, where they just, they're just going to air it out. They don't care what the Bison have. They're going to
2011 Sam Houston, 2017 Sam Houston.
Yeah.
I'll play 2017 Sam Houston all day long, as far as I'm concerned.
Those teams, it's amazing. They're from Texas and they're not built in the trenches. But I think that we're going to see a lot of Big Sky type of offenses in Sam Houston kind of too.
All right, we're going to get into the back end of the front seven, which is our linebackers. Before we talk about the linebackers, we had a couple linebackers. First interview we're going to play. Here's my conversation with my former teammate in high school, now current NDSU linebacker, Oliver Lucht. Here's my interview with Oliver. All right, buddy, I'm glad to be joined by a former Davies High School alumnus, same as myself. Got Oliver Lucht in studio, linebacker NDSU. Thanks for coming in, buddy. I appreciate it.
Pleasure's mine, yeah.
All right, I want to start by taking you back to February 6th. I think you remember what day that was in NDSU history and how significant it was. What do you remember about hearing the news that NDSU is moving to FBS?
There's a lot of talk about it beforehand. A lot of people were predicting it, and we could kind of tell it was coming. And then the time it happened, it was super exciting. I was ready to make the jump. I think it's going to be a phenomenal season. And I think hearing the news, I remember talking to my roommates, just the different places we get to travel and different teams we get to play for the first time is what I'm most excited about for.
I remember texting you that next morning, and you texted me this quote. It's nothing bad. It's gonna bring in a lot more fans, and we're playing new teams finally. So what do you expect the Fargo Dome to be like when you host Jacksonville State on August 29th?
Hopefully packed. I think the fans are ready to see someone new. They're probably a little bit tired of the 60-0 blowouts, and I don't blame them. Those aren't the most interesting to watch. So I think having a new team we've never played before in the dome should be a good turnout.
As a player, do you get tired of 60-0 blowouts?
It gets a little boring at sometimes, when you're up so much and you put the backups and then the backups in, and so it's fun beating teams like that, but there's nothing like a close game till the fourth quarter.
Yeah, because I kind of had this feeling like when you were playing St. Thomas, you walk into the building, and they're like, okay, they're likely going to beat the living crap out of the Tommies. No offense to St. Thomas, like they were a 7-5 football team or whatever, but that's the kind of talent disparity we're talking about. You guys were just so much better. So Jacksonville State, a team that won 9 games last year, is not a team you're going to be playing.
Right. Yeah.
So, what does it feel like to be an FBS linebacker? Huh?
It's cool. It's really cool. I had a bunch of buddies who would always joke with me and say NDSU technically wasn't D1 yet.
Yep.
And they always call us D2, and so I think, finally being in the biggest conference or the highest division of football is really cool. And I just take a step back a little bit just to really look at how far we've come and how far I've came, and it's pretty cool.
You don't have to name names. Were those guys in Grand Forks? The guys that
Yes?
Okay.
A bunch of UND guys,
Yeah, iBlog knows a ton about UND burner accounts.
Yeah.
How would you describe the linebacking core here at NDSU?
You talking right now? Or?
Yeah, right now.
Yeah, right now we're pretty close. We're a tight-knit group. We got a lot of competitors. The spring ball was good for us. We're a young crew too. We've had a lot of departures, and so it was time for a lot of young guys to step it up and make names for themselves. And it's going to be a fun season. I think this is one of the closest knit groups I've ever been a part of, and so I'm super excited.
One of the hot takes I have is that Donovan Willen could be the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year. He's that good. So I want you to make the case as his teammate. Why should Donovan Willen be the Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year?
I mean, that dude can play. He can play Mike, Will, or Sam. He
Yep.
can play all three of them. I mean, he's only getting bigger, and I mean, you saw it last year how good he played. I mean, it was unreal. He flashed pretty much every game, and it was crazy how he didn't get first team Missouri Valley. But
That's a crime, if anything.
I agree, and so I think he easily could get Player of the Year for that because I mean, he's so diverse, and now that he's only getting bigger, he could play middle, outside, any of those. So.
Because South Dakota State was usually was it like which game was more circled on the schedule? Was it South Dakota State or UND? Which was the game that was more circled?
Definitely South Dakota State.
Okay.
We don't give much thought into UND usually.
So give me the game you have circled on the schedule now, because you're in the Mountain West now. Don't say Fordham, because I don't think that'll be another blowout.
Right.
But if there's one game that's on the schedule that's circled in that big red ink, what is it?
I mean, we're doing a lot of prep on Air Force.
Okay.
They're a huge, triple option military school, so we're prepping for them already, and that'll be a fun battle. And then I think New Mexico has a really good team.
Yep.
I actually did a film study not too long ago on them, and they have a really solid team, good coaches with Valley experience, and so they got a solid team. So I think that's a team we got to watch out for, as them and UNLV are two really solid teams.
Has Coach Olson broken out the Wofford film from 2012 when he had 29 tackles, or the 2017 game with Wofford? Has that come out yet from Coach Olson?
So it was funny, Coach. We had a former player come speak to us, and he talked about that, and Coach P kind of chimed in and said, yeah, he had 29 tackles because they ran the same play all game. And so he hasn't talked much about it. There might be a film clip every once in a while from back in the day where he gets all riled up. But he's a super humble guy.
I don't know if he'll play a guy like Eric Breitenstein ever again.
Yeah.
We'll see how that one goes.
Yeah.
Talk about you a little bit. How have you grown from an EDC linebacker at Fargo Davies to an FBS Mountain West linebacker? So what has evolved since high school?
Yeah, it's just a lot of putting my head down and working hard. Just looking at the guys before me, those 6 years, and then in the 5th years, and all those guys, learning from all the Wirtz, Kubitz, Kopp, super helpful in my journey. And so I think just keeping my head down through all that process, and I've grown a lot since freshman year. You come in as a Mike freshman year, it's like speaking a different language in terms of the defense. And so just studying the playbook and watching film, I've become very comfortable with it.
Yeah, name something you learned from Logan Kopp, speaking on Kopp. What's one thing you, like, that really struck a chord with me?
Yeah, he taught me so much, but I think one major thing would probably be just, like, take a step back and look where you are. Like, there's a ton of kids that would, give an arm or a leg just to be at NDSU, and so it doesn't matter how much you play and all that, but you should be grateful for where you are. So
yeah. Have you sensed a change in energy this spring from last year? Last year, FCS national champs, another season, but now this is a whole new ball game. Is there a new energy you sense, or is it just, okay, we're just going to put our nose to the grindstone and keep going?
Yeah, I think the standard hasn't changed at all. I think we're still just we want to collide heads. That's all we've ever wanted to do. And so I think you got to pick it up a little bit because you're playing new competition where everyone stands out now. There's no more blowout games, and so the standard remains the same, but the intensity's picked up. Coach Knapp has done a great job at doing that in the weight room. And
talk me through your semi-viral video of you picking off a deflected pass in practice. Do you remember that at all?
Yeah,
anymore?
That was, I think it was Jackson Williams was the receiver, but I just remember I was just staring at Hayes the whole time and broke to the ball, and all of a sudden Jackson was there, and I just remember it going right up, and I just had to dive out to get that, and then it was me and Jackson actually both had our hands on it, and I had to rip it away from him at the end. But that was pretty cool. And then I didn't even know that there was someone filming right there. So
there's always somebody filming those practices.
Yeah, I get the tag a couple days later, and I see this video, and I had to send it to my family. I'm like, that's a great angle.
I was one of those tags. I had you.
Yeah.
You and I were part of some great Davies teams, so not really me, but more you. What was your reaction when Davies won the state title last year?
It was cool. I mean, I think they lost it the year before, so it was well deserved. Coach Vermeyer, he's been there a long time. He's deserved a chip, and so it was cool to see them finally get out on top. Yeah. It was really cool.
Favorite high school memory, football memory? You got one?
I'd probably say probably beating Cheyenne our first home game. That was pretty cool.
That?
Yeah, knocked the brakes off them. That was cool.
All right, the last thing. So, of course, they're in the video game now, right? NDSU football's being in the video game.
Yeah.
if you had to guess, what do you think your rating is going to be?
Oof.
I don't know how they grade
If-
stuff, but
If I could get anywhere near the high 60s, low 70s, I'd be happy. But I don't think it would be anywhere near there. But that would be cool if I could get there. But
buddy, we appreciate your time.
Appreciate it.
We'll kick back the studio for the rest of the Bison overtime. All right, thanks again to Oliver for that. We really appreciate his time. He just did that a couple hours ago, so we thank him a lot for that. Linebackers, let's talk about it in detail now. Gavin Sell is in line to be the will. He impressed a ton last year into the spring. Keith Williams will step in and play the middle. The Cornell transfer he visited Florida State and chose NDSU. That says something, boys and girls. And then Don Woolen, of course, will be the other linebacker. That's a pretty good trio of guys. And then to back up, you got obviously Oliver Luck. You got Ray James, who's coming off a shoulder surgery. And then Peder Hauge, we'll hear from in just a bit. And then Alex Elliott, who has not played football in almost 4 years. So that's a little concerning, but he's a really good athlete. So this is an athletic room, which is what you need in the Mountain West.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the media out there is saying this is going to be a question. I think this is the second most strength position group.
Behind the defensive line.
Yeah, for sure, because Donovan Woolen's back. He was your best linebacker, probably your best defensive player overall. Might have been your best player of guys that didn't graduate, obviously with Peyton and Bryce Lance, but you have so much depth. You know, Keith Williams looks like he's going to be a great middle linebacker. Ray James, we just hear he's a freak of nature.
Freak athlete, just the shoulders.
Yeah.
A bit of problem.
And then you got guys like, Oliver Luck and Peder Hauge that were interviewing guys that are going to be depth pieces and might get a chance to start if something goes their way. And I think there's a lot to be excited for. I mean, I haven't even mentioned Gavin Sell. We've been hearing a ton of him, so excited about this.
Like you said, Ibach, there is so much potential in this room, and it's a too deep room. I mean, if one gets hurt, yes, I think he's the most impactful player on this team on the defense side of the ball. But you have other guys that can step up, maybe to not the lengths of Donovan Woolen, but kind of serve as that supplementary piece till he gets back. Yeah, Gavin Sell, I've heard he was a baller this spring, just breaking up plays, pass deflections, all of that nature, and this is probably one of the first times I've heard of a guy coming through the transfer portal, starting right away, earning that respect from the locker room right away, and kind of leading that defense of being your middle linebacker.
Yeah, again, can Keith Williams fill the shoes of Nathaniel Staling? That's a big question because we were talking with Oliver before the interview started, and I said, tell me about Nathaniel Staling. He's like, bro, 2 days before the portal closed, Staling was in the team meeting 2 days before, and Staling said it would take the perfect offer for me to leave. Yeah. Because he rejected a ton of offers, but when Michigan comes calling, I don't think none of us are going to say, oh, he shouldn't have left for Michigan. It's Michigan. You got to say yes to Michigan.
Well, right? Yeah, and we said it when that happened on this show. I said it.
It's the right move for him to do.
He clearly was tampering and all that, and we know that he wanted to be here. That happens a lot when players. It's different with like Jaquise Alexander and Duffy, guys that leave early. I think guys like Staling. I honestly think Bo Johnson. I think guys like that wanted to stay, but the chances are Staling's getting like midway between 400 500,000. You just can't turn that down.
But it's the SEC in the Big Ten. You can't turn those down.
No. And one more thing on that though.
Yeah, go ahead.
If this Mountain West thing would have happened earlier, I feel like they keep at least two of the guys that leave. Staling is not one.
Who's the other one then?
It's hard to say. I think maybe Bo Johnson, just because it's a line. The money thing is the issue there. Duffy was injury prone.
I think Jaquise could put a hammer lock on. Everybody else is still up in the air.
Yeah, I think one of them may sneak another one though. I think two of them, but yeah, that's all I got on that.
And you guys touched on it perfectly. It's his last year of football.
Yeah,
this is the most you're gonna make right now. And I'm not saying nothing about Nathaniel's future and all, but getting an offer north of $400,000 to play football for your last year, while getting somewhat of an education at Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
Go do it.
We got one more interview to play for you. Ethan had the chance to interview his high school classmate from Fargo North, Peder Hauge. So here's our last interview with Peder Hauge.
All right, thanks, Grant. We're welcoming in sophomore linebacker Peder Hauge into the show. Peder, how you doing?
Doing well, doing great.
So to start this off, I kind of want to take you back to your first 6 months here transitioning into college. So you go from playing under the lights at Fargo North, and then your first game you're playing in front of about 50,000 in Boulder, Colorado. Kind of just describe that transition.
Yeah, this is actually pretty funny. I have a funny moment. I remember, my senior year, we were up in Devil's Lake, North Dakota, and it's a mud bowl. And it was actually a pretty close game, but I remember like a moment I'm on the sideline, I'm thinking like, like here I am playing in front of a couple hundred people, you know, kind of in the middle of nowhere, and next year I have the opportunity to play like against the most hype college football team at the time. Yeah. You know, to be running down a kickoff or whatever, and I was like, wow, that's a pretty cool thought to have, but no, you know, going to Fargo North, you're in NDSU's backyard. Yeah. Like it's hard to diminish the impact that NDSU football has had on this community. And you know, growing up, I wasn't an NDSU fan. Yeah. I was a Gopher fan. So I knew all too well, you know, how good NDSU was. Yep. And even my last high school football game was in the Fargo Dome, and my first, home game obviously was in the Fargo Dome too. So
yeah. So what do you think has been the biggest difference going from high school to college? Is it like the speed of practice? Is it the like amount of like time in the weight room? What do you think is the biggest difference?
Everything. But if I had to put my thumb on one, you know, main difference, I would say the time spent not on the practice field. Yeah. Like in high school, you don't watch a ton of film, or like at least organized film study isn't that prevalent. Whereas, you know, practically as a linebacker, now that's all it really takes to be a great linebacker. Yeah. Like you can have, you know, mediocre athletic stats or whatever, but if you really know your film and you're dialed in the film room, you can be an All-American. So
yeah. So kind of piggybacking off of that, what do you think has helped you the most transitioning? Is it, you know, something physically? Is it a mindset thing? What do you think has helped you the most in transitioning smoothly?
Yeah, I think it's a mindset thing for sure. Okay. You know, you're recruited as an athlete, and you know, they see the potential in you, and you just need to find a way to somehow like get that out. Yeah. And you know, the mindset is, you know, the key to everything, and the biggest part of the mindset is having joy when you're out there on the field. You know, Yeah, no, it's super easy to get caught up in like your performance. Yeah. But remembering that it's a game and you're here to have fun will, you know, help you to perform to your fullest ability.
So I'm going to take you, so about 3 months ago almost to the days when we, you know, the bombshell broke. It was the news of the FBS stuff. So I'll never forget, I was in my room looking at my phone and I see a tweet from Pete Thamel, the Bison are rumored to move up. So I'd like to hear your reaction. Where were you, and you know, who were you around? Like, what was that moment like?
Yeah. I was actually in like the most ideal spot when I heard the news. So I think it was a Friday night when the news broke, and Grant Olson, he's like super into pickleball. Oh yeah. So all the linebackers, we were actually at Courts and Pints in Moorhead, and I show up a little late, and everybody's like, yo, you got to go look at Twitter like right now. Like this is actually a big deal. And checked it, and I saw the tweets, and I was like, well, if these big reporters are reporting on it, it's probably actually going to happen. Because there's been some speculation for a while, but I saw those tweets. I was like, wow. And, you know, I was around all the guys too, so kind of made a perfect moment.
So, you know, speaking of the speculation stuff, I remember having a conversation with you in high school about this. Like, you know, we talked about like how cool would it be if this happened while you were here. And not only is it happening, but you have 3 years to kind of go with this, and you got to win an FCS title. So kind of just describe how excited you are to go to this next level and be a part of this transition.
Yeah. You know, first and foremost, I'm so glad I got to experience like the FCS national championship feeling. Like, that's something that not many athletes get to achieve in their time in college, so that's awesome. Yeah. But no, being a part of this new era of Bison football is super special. In the fact that we get to elevate the program to a place that it's never been, and like, you know, winning Division I FCS national championships, like that's a big deal. But when you tell people, like on the surface level, they're like, oh, that's not real like Division I football. So now to have the opportunity to bring this program to, you know, new heights and honor the guys who have won so many national championships before us is an amazing feeling. So
so we kind of talked a little bit off air about the tape and going into like these Mountain West teams. So is there something in particular you've noticed a ton, and what is it different from these Mountain West teams to the Valley teams? Yeah,
I think, you know, just watching the tape, Missouri Valley football is, you know, for the most part run heavy. Yeah. Whereas now as you transition to the Mountain West, teams like to go 5 wide. Yes. Air the ball out. You know, there are some still balanced teams like Nevada and New Mexico, they still like to run the ball a fair amount, but expect more passing, and that's probably the biggest difference between the Valley and Mountain West.
Okay, yeah. So, is there a particular game on the schedule? Like, I can't wait for this one. And give me like a home and an away. Like, which one are you most excited for? Both ways.
Man. I think there's 3 games that I'm most excited for. First, 4. Well, 4. First game, Jacksonville State at home. Like, it's pretty special to have your first FBS game be at home, and I'm just kind of imagining the moment right now, like running out of the tunnel and seeing a packed dome and getting to play like our first FBS game in front of the home crowd. So that'll be special. Yeah. I think the other home game that'll be special is obviously the Wyoming game.
Yeah, for sure.
Coach Bull will, I'm sure, have some sort of role in that game, whether we're honoring him somehow. And that'll probably, like in the long run, be our in-conference rival. And just our away games, I think the coolest one will be Hawaii.
Yeah.
Like, that's just a pretty special place to go. Like, man, I get to go. Yeah, exactly. I get to go play football in Hawaii, and they're a different style of play. Like island football is different. Like when Hawaii's at home, they play a different style than when they do here on the mainland. So that'll be obviously an insane experience. And then lastly, playing New Mexico, just because their head coach was at SDSU for so long, and it's kind of hard to boil down the rivalry that NDSU and SDSU obviously have. So there's bad blood between the two teams already, and I'm sure he'll be preaching to their guys like how our play style and how we've been operating for the longest time, and I'm sure he has that game marked down, I'm sure. So
for sure. And last thing about the FBS move and stuff. So is there anything that Coach Polisek or Coach Olson or any of the coaches in general have changed in practice or preparation so far in this short time since the FBS move, or is it all kind of they're doing their thing, doing it the same way?
We're doing everything the same way, but something that I think has changed is the increased intensity, especially when it comes to conditioning. And we'll be playing at 7,500 feet when we're at when we're in Colorado Springs, and I think Wyoming's way up there too, and that's definitely something that's increased. And we've been doing a lot more 2-minute. We don't have those. We don't have the Murray States. We don't have the Indiana State anymore, where it's not a week off, but it's you kind of can relax a little bit.
Yeah.
We don't have that anymore, and every game is going to be a dogfight, and a lot of those games will come down to an efficient 2-minute by the offense or stopping an efficient 2-minute by the defense. So we've been implementing a lot more of that.
It's just going to be so fun to see some of these games come down to the wire. That's kind of what I'm excited for. But we'll transition into not just FBS stuff and the actual team. So obviously Logan Kopp, all-time Bison, he graduates. Nathaniel Staling, he goes to Michigan probably for some cash. But who's a player in the defensive room in general, or the linebacker room in general, or overall on defense that you could see taking a big step that hasn't played a ton this year?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think my really close friend Matthew Stenbrotten. The end, he's really started to put it on here, as spring ball finished, and he'll be a great addition to, an already insanely strong defensive line. But I think it'll be just the linebackers as a whole. It'll be a different feel now because we won't have, the 3 solid starters that we've had in the past. I think it'll be more of a fluid rotation, and when we play Hawaii and we need more of a coverage guy, the coverage guys will be playing. And when we go play Air Force and they're triple option, they're mainly run, our best 3 run heavy guys will be in. So I think I'm just super excited to see how all the guys in the linebacker room step up and work as a cohesive unit to fill the roles that defense needs. So
another thing about practice, you've been going, for the last month for spring practice, you've been going up against this Bison offense, and there's a lot of change on that side of the ball too. So who's a player that's really stuck out on the offensive side of the ball that you've gone against?
I think Griffin MP has obviously he's been playing for the last 2 years, but he's turned it on to another level. He is looking like, when you think of North Dakota State, you think offensive line, university. And, Griffin's definitely taken that step to be the next. I'm name any of the great NDSU linemen. Yeah. Griffin's looking great. But skill position-wise, man, I think Mekhi Collins looks really good. And just the receivers in general. We lost Reis, and you can't understate that loss. But Mekhi has done a great job. He didn't get to practice all spring ball, but he did a great job, stepping into Bryce's role and, becoming that next number one target that, every great offense needs. So
So got 2 more questions for you. Probably the most important one here. What are your personal goals for 2026? And then as a team, what is the goal of the team?
Yeah, I think, as I'm sitting here thinking about my personal goals, let's say make as many plays on special teams as I can. And as we play, better competition, the margins become more slim and slim. Yeah. And those special teams plays become more important. So just maximizing the amount of tackles I have on punt, on kickoff, would probably be my personal goal, because I see that fitting the team goals really well. And then team goal for 2026, I think go and win the Mountain West year one, and then hopefully have a playoff bid following that. But I don't think that the teams, nobody's coming in here not with the expectation that, we're going to win the Mountain West. We're not here just to put our feet in the water and try it out year one and, what's this FBS football thing? And be like, no, we're here to win the Mountain West. And, granted, it's going to come with a lot of hard work, because it's better competition, and there's, every team in the Mountain West is a great team. So it's going to come with a lot of hard work, but that'd be our goal. So the last question for you, what do you think your overall is going to be in the video game this year? Most important one of the day. I don't know. Gosh, I wonder what they use to count into your overall, especially now that we've only played FCS competition. If I'm in the 70s, I'd be happy. I hope my speed's up there. I hope that's the one stat that I'm praying, please don't be a 60 something speed. Give me in the 80s for the speed, but I'd be happy with a 71, 72. So we'll see.
Yeah, well, thanks for the time, Peter. This was awesome. Hopefully we can do this next year at some point. But we're gonna go back to the show now. Back to Grant.
Has to happen.
Sweet. That was awesome.
Alrighty, welcome back, everybody. We appreciate the time that those guys gave, especially Peter. That last interview was fantastic. Moving on to the secondary. Again, we're running out of time. We're supposed to do corners and safeties together. DJ Volts, EJ Davis, Keegan Huber, Marion Moore, Kendrick Carter, Najee Nelson are the projected corners. Then going over to safety, you got Darius Gibbons and Talon Edey, Will Style, and Jalen Crumby. Another deep area of players NDSU has.
Yeah, I think a lot of the question marks on this team are at cornerback, but I think you can make up for that with good safeties, and tying it back, you just need to have. If you rush the passer, it does not matter how bad your defensive backs are, and I think they'll be fine.
I'm very curious to see where Chance Tucker contributes this year. Will he be right in the mix right away? Will he be a nickel, or will he be boundary? All questions that we will see this fall.
Yeah, let's move on now to a topic that we've kind of talked about. We'll see how you all think about it. The 5 most important players to NDSU's success in 2026. I'll list them one at a time for you. So number 5 is Keenan Wilson. Number 4, Darius Givens. Number 3, Ryan Babbitts. Number 2 is Donovan Woolen. And of course, number 1 will be the quarterback Nathan Hayes. So what do we think about these top 5 guys that are paramount to NDSU's success?
Yeah, I think that most of them are pretty obvious. Like the quarterback, it's the most important position on the field. Left tackle, you got to protect your QB. And then those 3 guys on defense, I think just having really veteran presence at each spot and a star player at each spot is really going to be key. I think Darius Givens is going to be one of the better safeties in this conference, and just excited to see these guys play this year.
If those 3 defensive players have all career years, we will see NDSU go 10-2 or 11-1. That is clear cut, straight to the point. NDSU to the college football playoff.
All right, full season predictions. Again, we're short on time, so we'll do this as fast as we can. Peter, your schedule prediction, go.
So first game, win. Second game against Fordham, don't even count it. Air Force, win. Sacramento State. And so NDSU is rolling into the season 5-0. And when they go into UNLV, this will be a marquee matchup in the Mountain West. I have them losing to UNLV. I have them winning against Nevada. I have them winning against New Mexico. I have them winning against UTEP at 8-1. And I have them winning at Hawaii 9-1. This was my upset pick. I thought it was UNLV, but the Hawaii pick is my upset pick for this year. I think they can get it done in Honolulu. They obviously crush NIU, but they go into San Jose State 10-1, and they just dropped kind of a heartbreaker in this game.
All right, my schedule, I got them beating Jacksonville State week 1. They'll beat the crap out of Fordham in week 2. Got them winning at Air Force. They put a lot of prep into that game. I think they find a way to win that one. I think they'll beat the crap out of Sacramento State as well. I think they'll beat Wyoming. They'll lose at UNLV. I think that's a schedule loss. They'll beat Nevada. I think the upset pick I have is they will go to New Mexico and win. They'll beat UTEP. I have them losing at Hawaii. That's a tough road trip. First they've ever done it. I think they'll drop that one. I have them beating NIU and then beating the Fighting Niles Hall of San Jose State. Ibach?
Yeah, so very little different here. I got a good start though, winning and 1-0. Fargo's gonna be bumping for this game. I'm excited. Fordham, we can skip that one. Air Force, like you said, a lot of prep going into this. They're gonna win that game. Sacramento State, I don't know how ready they are to play NDSU because I don't think they're gonna have a great team coming back. I got them starting 4-0. Wyoming, it's going to be a month gap between games for the Bison at home. I think they're going to win that game pretty handily. UNLV, this is where the reality strikes, and I think this is where they lose their first game on the road, tough game. Come back, Jeff Choate's worst nightmare. He's got to play at the Fargo Dome.
Yeah.
Bison bring it home, 6-1. Now Jason Eck, he's already preparing for this game.
Oh yeah.
He's got this game marked on his calendar. He's had it marked there since the Bison moved up. I got a Bison loss there, unfortunately. Got him coming home to UTEP. Yeah, I think we say there's no Murray States on the schedule. This is the closest to it. I think the Bison are going to win this game very handily. Hawaii, like you said, Grant, this is a tough road trip. I think the Bison, if they're going to win it, it's going to be up front, but I think Hawaii is just going to have the home field advantage factor. Northern Illinois, this is kind of a trap game, I think, because you're coming back from Hawaii. We know that the jet lag kind of affects you a week later. I have them winning a close one against Northern Illinois. And then, like Peder, I have them drop in the last one. I think there's one game on the schedule they're going to drop that they shouldn't. I was between Air Force, San Jose State. I'm going to take San Jose State. 8-4 season, bowl eligible. Let's do this.
Hot takes that were right and wrong. What is it? This one is surprisingly wrong.
Yeah, I just have only one coming off the board to end the year here. Again, how is this not right? I don't know. February 5th, 2026, I said Dave Richmond will receive a contract extension, and the deadline was by our final show, which is today. How has this not happened? I don't know. So the season statistics have not changed really at all. My percentage dropped by 1, but one note, the season stats will reset in the fall, and all the predictions that haven't happened are carrying
Thank
over.
God,
So
because I'm at 35%. I'm not doing very well.
yeah, we're excited for those hot takes to continue next year.
So my thing about your Dan Larson, what are you doing? Dave
His name is Matt Larson, but okay.
Matt Larson. Dave Richmond literally won 27 games. They made it to March Madness.
Yeah.
And it was not a contract year, but you kind of want to get those guys extended. It was very puzzling to me at this time of the year where it's like, no, we're not doing it.
All right, let's make our hot take. We don't have a lot of time, so let's make them and then we'll move. Let's go one by one here.
So my first hot take at the end of the year: NDSU throws for 300 plus yards in half the games this year. My second one is the Mountain West will have one player selected on the AP All-American team. NDSU isn't done in the transfer portal. They'll get one more player before the first game in August. A very personal one for all of us. Bison Overtime will have 800 followers before the season opener.
Hit that follow button, people.
Yeah.
And my last one. This is my touchdown prediction. NDSU will have one nationally televised game on Fox or CBS this year. Folks, I'm not talking Fox Sports 1. I'm
Like
not
15 or 30.
Yeah,
like those
or
networks.
CBS Sports Network. No, I'm talking good announcing crew and big production. They come to Fargo.
Gus
Awesome.
Johnson saying Bison really loud would just be great.
Nathan Hayes. That'd be awesome.
Touchdown, Bison.
Yep.
You have barbecue.
Yeah.
iBox prediction.
I'd love to see that. But moving on to mine, I got the Bison will draw 18,000 plus for every FBS home game they have, so that's 5 of them. I think we're going to change this from a touchdown to a completion with the recent news of all the ticket sales, because I think this is going to happen. Secondly, I got NDSU will execute a fake field goal or punt or both in 2026. This is the Mad Ents DNA coming out, I think. I think Polisek's going to have some trick plays up his sleeve. Thirdly, NDSU will start 5-0 in 2026. Schedule favors them pretty heavily if you just get past, Jacksonville and Wyoming. Fifth one, I got a parlay. The betting man I am. We're bringing this up. NDSU will go 3-1 or better in September. I think they're going to go 4-0. They go 2-2 or worse in October, and they go undefeated in November, which kind of goes against my San Jose State pick, but whatever. And then lastly, New Mexico is going to host the Mountain West Championship game. I think they're the best team in the Mountain West right now. I think their schedule favors them, and those are my final hot takes of the semester.
All right, my final hot takes. Hopefully, I can get above 35%. Yikes, I'm not doing great on that one. My hot takes for the final week of the semester: NDSU Mountain West Offensive and Defensive Player of the Week. Woolen will be one of them. Offensive player could be Hayes. It could be Money Mitchell. Who knows? That's what we're going with. Number 2, the Bison crush Sacramento State. That will not even be a game as far as I'm concerned. This one's a little off the board, but I'm going with it anyway. Jacksonville State commits 3+ false starts in the season opener. Never been to the Dome before. Teams have problems hearing in the Dome. We're just going to go with that one with the Gamecocks. The fourth one, we saw the Joe Moore Award. They did a YouTube video on NDSU saying, hey, if they were eligible to be nominated, we would have nominated them for the award. So we're going to say, screw it. They're going to be nominated for the Joe Moore Award this year. I think the Bison are going to beat at home. It's a favorable home schedule. I think the sold-out Dome except Fordham, probably. Hopefully it's still a sold-out house and let's Fordham, but so be it. So those are my hot takes for the end of the semester. So what to look forward to. This technically is our last episode of the semester. We've been working on something special with the other Mountain West schools, so we'll tell you about that more next week if we can make it happen. We're going through the logistics of it, so hopefully we make that happen. But parting thoughts, guys. This has been a fun semester together doing this. Peder has been involved for the for the second semester, but this has been fun to do, guys.
Yeah, it's crazy that it's been over a year since we started doing this, and that this semester specifically has absolutely flown by. It was awesome going to the Summit League tournament and all that, and I just can't wait for this. It's a pleasure that we get to cover the first season of FBS next year. But yeah, it's just thanking all the viewers.
Yeah, no, it's an absolute pleasure to be, invited to the show, covering a lot of the basketball things, but then being also asked to cover some of the football aspects. And when they got the news to FBS, I was like, sweet, this is kind of my realm of college football. But no, yeah, it's going to a Summer League tournament and covering a lot of the games at the Shack. And then also having those players in the interviews. We're a growing platform, and we're thankful for all the viewers.
Yeah, thank you to Tim Polisek, Jocelyn Schiller. They all came on. Then Oliver, Peder, Reis. Those guys. Yeah. Again, we're a student-run show, so for us to have that kind of stuff is really really important. We thank you, Bison Nation, for watching our show. We put a lot of time and effort into the show. You don't see our Tuesday meetings. You don't see what IBOC does behind the scene, putting together all of our graphics, us putting the script together like this. It's just us, and then it's Jack and Cash. That's who does this show. It's a pretty small group of guys who run this show, but we see you all enjoy our content. Keep following us for more content. We have 652 followers. Hopefully we can get that to over 800 if Peter's Nostradamus. We'll see what can happen there. But we'll post stuff throughout the summer. Ethan and I will keep the content going. Once August hits and fall camp shows up, we'll be there at the practices, giving you updates and so on and so forth. But that'll do it for us for this semester. You probably see a video from us next week with this idea that I have, so you might see me next week. But for our director, Cash Rowan, our producer, Jack Higgins, my co-host, Peder Velka, and Ethan Ibach, this is Grant Hubbard. Have a wonderful summer, everybody, and we'll see you in August. Horns up and go Bison. Thanks for watching, everybody.